One minute, it'll be done in a second. You need something.
Brilliant.
Look, Margaret, I know. I'm a very busy woman. I can't deal with that today. Fine, 2 o'clock. How's my day?
It's a little tight today. We have a meeting at 3 p.m. with the
Oh,
Minister of Energy.
you're going to have to push that back, Roger. I'm sorry.
Oh, madam,
Look, I've got to deal with Margaret at 2. Can you push it back to tomorrow, please?
Yes.
Hello, take a seat. It's good to finally get this sorted. Right, here's the papers. Have a look.
We're tight on the schedule here. I mean, we should have moved this back 2 weeks ago.
Sorry, madam.
It's not for tomorrow.
I know.
Madam, would you like anything to drink?
Anyway, so.
Right. This is fancy. I know, I can't believe it.
So what are we celebrating?
Well, yeah, just go for it.
I can't think of it. Put in your car.
I've been promoted.
No way.
Wait.
I know how much. Congratulations.
I know, thank
Oh,
you.
I know how much you wanted that. I really know how much.
No, I mean, I knew it was coming soon, but I didn't know so soon, you know. I was really wrote to me. Gosh. Okay.
You're gonna have to pay help for that, huh? Car?
Yeah. Good evening, madam.
What can I get for you? Oyster Bay, lovely choice. And to eat?
Could you do it with salad, please? And
Yeah, special.
lovely choice. Don't as well, please. Of course. Be right back.
How did you know I wanted salad?
What did you think this was?
Oh, it's okay. Salad is good. I'm dying.
Would you like to try the one, madam?
Yes, please, yes.
For the table? There we are. And there's a bill.
It's okay, love. Silly. Fine. Let's go.
I'll have to pay you back.
No. I've got some price for you at home.
Cheeky.
It's chief like boning everywhere.
And welcome to today's lecture on gender studies. My name is Professor Lee. You'll almost certainly have recognised these familiar scenes. A family home, the Prime Minister's office, and a couple's outing. Nothing out of the ordinary for the 31st century. However, recent evidence has come to light to suggest things were not always this way. An ancient script from 2013 has been discovered that suggests the world was once a very different place.
1st of November, and not a day earlier had she begun that time of the month which women detest so much. Part of her wanted to run and hide her shame. She couldn't resist the feel of Rupert's member against her body. She quickly reached between her thighs, plucked the tampon from her fiery lips, and tossed it asunder just as Rupert pulled her close. It was as though the stars had left the night sky and entered Tess's eyes as Rupert became her world and her world shook with passion. As the rhythm of Rupert's thighs became more than she could handle, Tess spasmed with pleasure, and her groans became screams lost in Rupert's mouth. As they parted the next morning, Tess's cheeks were still rosy with lovemaking, and the sunlight bounced on her hair in a way that suggested such a time would never happen again. And she... What are you going to do? Oh, what? You left the... on the floor? Then... on the floor! A discussion such as this is almost impossible to imagine in today's society. But the university has found 2 diary extracts which give further evidence to suggest it was once men who were the dominant sex.
Whoa. Slow down.
Oh, that's a massive one! Oh no! Oh no! Okay, run. Oh God!
Come on, you've got to go.
We're at Hastings at the beach. Dad waves us straight ready to Grandma's. 10 minutes later, we're in the car. We're standing at the door. Bushka comes to greet us. Oh, hello, darling. Hello. How are you, darling? Are you good? Hello, darling. How are you? Oh, and Daddy, big Daddy, how are you? Yes, what's skinny, Dad? Come in. Oh, here we go. It's a really small and cramped room. There's a coffee table here and a big dining table. But we all choose to sit around the cramped one. My sister sits here. I sit here. My dad sits here next to my grandfather. There's a big TV out front. My grandfather right here, just relaxing.
Roughly 4 years ago, my mother told me a story about her struggle with her inheritance. Everyone loved my grandfather in the village, and his untimely death devastated everybody. A few days after his death, the whole village arranged an intimate funeral to mourn for a great father and man.
Bushka, who hasn't sat down yet, goes tottering off into the kitchen. A few seconds later, she comes out carrying a massive bowl of peaches. I've never seen anything like it. It was a mountain. She puts it on the table in front of me and Freya. And sits there in awe.
After the intimate funeral came the reading of the will. My grandfather was a wealthy man, and everything he owned was to go to his 4 children. Being the oldest, my mother was to get all the land, and her 3 younger brothers the livestock. But my egotistic uncles weren't going to settle for this. They felt, as the men, they should have the land, and as the woman, my mother should have the livestock.
I suck at it here. I looked at my sister, and she's there. She's got her hand in the bowl. Well, she's got 2 on her lap already, and 2 in the other hand. She can't even hold them all. She's jumping them and dropping them everywhere. It's like giving them a squeeze and a sniff to see if they're good and ripe enough. I, on the other hand, go for the bite.
Their argument went on and on. The women on my mother's side, we're the women. Why should we have the livestock? We can do great with the land. And the men on the other side, we're the men. What are we going to do with all these goats? Hours passed and arguments flew around there. Everyone was arguing from corner to corner. But a conclusion was met. My uncles got what they wanted and what they thought they deserved, and they left my mother with all the livestock. What is she going to do with all these goats? So she decided to give them the livestock, give them everything. She left the village, never to come back again.
I look over to my sister, and she's still muddling with the peaches. She's got her hand in the bowl still, and she's got 4 on her lap. She goes in for the biggest one. One at a time. Don't be greedy. My grandfather. But he hadn't said anything the whole time. Me and my sister